Hey guys, True Grit's got Bulletproof saws and bluesaws.com. Messing with a couple saws today. You can see I got that Bulletproof G366 in the back, and I have the blue one that I've been running for, I don't know, 2 years. I don't know if it's been 3 yet, can't remember, probably 2 years on it. And of course that one gets abused because it gets left outside in the rain and all the things that you shouldn't do. It's just, it works out that way. You're down at a firewood pile and you set it down and then you forget to come back because you get distracted by 50,000 other things. So I'm getting that a bunch, and that one gets more abuse than it should. But I've been working on these modified 44 carbs for these for a while, like getting these to be really reliable for people, a saw that they really want to have. Because in the stock form, and you'll see it on the Blue Saws website, that in stock form, hey, listen guys, you got a little bit of work to do. It's might not be the saw that you want right out of the box, and you got to do some tweaks. So it took us a while to get the carbs tweaked how we wanted them. You know, we get rid of the 366 carb. I use the both the choke and the throttle rods in the 44 carb, so I do a full conversion over to an ms440 size carb, like an HD, what is it, 12, 14? Can't remember my HD numbers, but so I swap it over to the ms440 carb, and we got a big order of the HLIC 440 carbs because that one is as good as the Walbro in my opinion. Tunes the same way, acts the same way, does everything. So there was a couple things on these, you know, in doing that conversion, because the donor 361 carb matters with the rods. It matters. There's a bunch of different piece parts, and it depends on the version of 361 carb you're using. It may be, in the end, they're going to be the same, but how you get there is different. So I'll probably make a separate video on the carbs. There's a lot to know, because I have guys buying these for me, and they want to then make their own. They want to see exactly what I did, and the problem is that you might not be starting with the same. You could get the 440 carb from us. They're all going to be the same. We have hundreds of them. So that's fine, but the 361 carbs, depending on the batch, they could be different, and I most certainly like some better than others for doing the conversion. The piece parts are a little bit better because you wind up cutting one of the rods, depending on the version, to fit the bigger butterfly, because the rod has a cutout where the butterfly sits in. So on the 361, it's got a little tiny butterfly, so a little tiny cutout, so you have to wind up extending that cutout. Be honest with you, it's more trouble than it's worth. I just like the 361 G366 model so much. My favorite saw. I want to see other people get it. So all I'm doing today is I got one that has to go out. It seems like it's acting right. I don't have it tuned up to screaming because it doesn't have a tank of gas through it yet, but it's running good enough. I figured I'd make a couple cuts with that, and then I want to compare it to my blue one, which, you know, I've been running for years now, and it's broken in. I think the blue one's going to eat its lunch, you know, and that's what I expect. But, you know, cutting, I can't tell, and I'll do a video, and then I could count the little seconds on the video, and I could see, you know, the difference between the two. And I expect there to be one, because I mentioned it to somebody the other day that the blue one actually, year 2 now, it seems like it got even better, but that's not a great comparison because I have swapped that carb a bunch of times, and I think I got the most refined version we've made of that carb now, because I got that down pat. And it took a minute. We went through a bunch of revisions doing it, just because getting different 366 donor carbs kind of throws you off. I will never use the no-name 44 carbs. You've seen my other video maybe about the Anaconda 44 carbs. You just throw them in the garbage. But even the no-name ones that look like the HD12 or HD14, I know I got the numbers goofed up. Even that one with the no name, that's a non-HLIC, I won't use. I don't believe in that carb, not even a little bit. I've had a couple of them work. They're better than the Anaconda carb, but not for doing a conversion where it matters. I'm going to use the best thing that I can. And like I said, those HLIC 440 carbs are interchangeable with the Walbro to me. I'll grab either one off the shelf for my own saw, knowing it's going to run as good. And then when you put the modified 44 carb in the 361, I could get more power out of the saw than I can with the stock raw bro because of the bigger barrel in the 44 carb. Anyhow, I'm going to pause you guys. I'm going to start these saws. I'm going to run them. I don't know. I'm just making a couple cuts, and I'm going to do a whole nother video on the carbs. It's just going to take me a minute because my workshop literally looks like a tornado went through there. And if I make a video in my workshop, in that workshop in any case, the other one's just piled with shit. But if I make a video in it, you guys are going to see so many things, you're going to get nauseous just by the amount of chainsaw junk that's around, and I want to clean it up before I make a good video. Maybe I'll get that done this week. Maybe I'll just go outside somewhere and make the video. Be easier on the workbench because I kind of want to show you some piece parts on this stuff. I got to figure out how I'm going to make that video for you guys who want to make carbs. Pausing you, I'm just going to make a couple cuts and see. Again, we're tuned where we're tuned. The chains are what they are because I've been cutting with them. I've been noodling a bunch of this maple here because it's bigger pieces, and well, I got to run the saws, and sometimes like this here, I got 20-inch bars on them both, you know, same kind of chain, all that. So what were they, 15-inch logs, and I'll make a couple cuts with it, but it's better for me to test the saw noodling because I could bury a 20. So that's why I do that all the time, and I just like noodling. I'll even collect a bunch of the noodles, throw them in garbage bins, let them dry out, and use them to start my wood stove all winter. You know, that's how we heat. So I'll probably start this one, get it running, make a cut, start that one, make a cut. This isn't the best video. I think that you'll be more interested in the carb video. What else did I want to tell you guys about these? There was something else. Oh, my modified mufflers, and maybe somebody can help me out with this. I do brazing. The problem that I'm having, and it's a cosmetic problem, it's not a functional problem. When I braze these guys back together and then I braze the side bonnet on, the side deflector on, the flux in the braze, you know, I paint them up nice. They look perfect. They look like a factory wonderful muffler. The problem that I'm having is the flux in the braze starts migrating back out of the metal, and you get, you know, like white powder along the side. I imagine you can probably see that even all the way over there, and it doesn't look the greatest. And the only thing I've found to fix it is running the saw for, you know, 6 months, whatever you're going to run it for, getting it hot, getting it hot, getting it hot, and finally all that crap migrates out of there, all that flux migrates back out, and you go with the spray can and blacken it up again. I don't want it to be like that, but I don't know how to get away from the flux. I was using flux-coated brazing rods. That definitely did it. I'm trying bare rods with a different flux. I imagine it's a different flux with a powder flux where I dip the rods when I'm doing the brazing. And I'm not sure yet if that's migrating back out too. I suspect it is because I think that's what I used on this one, and it's migrating right back out. So maybe brazing, it's just nature of the beast. You can't do anything about it. I've had guys tell me, well, it's the crap metal. Stuff comes out of it after you heat it with the brazing torch. And I'm not sure, but if there's a real welder out there or a real brazer out there who can kind of fill me in that maybe there's a better flux I could buy that doesn't migrate back out, or I don't know how I could use less flux because it is what it is. But anyhow, guys, I'm going to pause this. I'm just going to make a couple cuts more for my own curiosity about the difference between a new saw and a broken-in saw, and go from there. Just a quick video, guys. Let me pause this. again, you saw me coming out there, but that thing is like veneer. It was something. I'll pause you again. I'll get that other one started. They felt pretty close. I feel more pull out of that one, but I almost think I have that a little too lean. Got sawdust all over you. Oh, one of the other things I meant to tell you guys, I'm gonna get these. I have a lot of guys ask them. I don't think that this velocity stack is giving me much more power, if any. Guys ask about it all the time. I'm gonna have them in stock probably this coming week. So today's middle of September 2024. So I should have those any day. I actually have the velocity stack part. I'm waiting for the uni filters to come in. So, and then I have some machine work to do on them. But those should be ready this week. The only thing I will tell you is I don't love the air filter system on the ms361, the g366. I don't love those air filters. I'm not saying they're restrictive. I just don't think that they're the best air filters in the world. Two of the problems that I have with it is, number one, the 366s or 361s like to spit fuel back through the carburetor. That's the first thing, no big deal, but it gets on your air filter and everything else, whereas I don't notice it on the foam filter. I'm sure it's spitting back fuel, but don't know that I care with the oil and fuel mixed in whatever. But what I will tell you is that the stock filters let in some fines, and I can't get my way out of it. Maybe the OEM filter would be better. I have a couple. I should try them. I just haven't yet because it's not a nightmare to me. It's not that big of a deal, but I probably should. Whereas the velocity stack with the uni filter keeps it perfectly clean. I'm not getting any fines in. So it's a better filtration system. But again, I'm leaving this thing outside in the rain, so that filter's getting wet. It dries out, no big deal, but it's probably not the best thing to do. It's not covered. It sticks out more when you put your hand here. You're touching that filter on the bottom, which again isn't a big deal either. You know, it's not as elegant as having a rear cover and the proper setup on the saw. So I'll have them in stock for the guys who want them. I guess I like it. I don't hate it. I know it's filtering the air a lot better, so I don't know. I thought that pulled pretty good. I still felt like that one had more pull to it if I wanted to dog in. That doesn't have dogs on it. This one has the little baby dogs that come on the 366, which I'm not a big dog guy. Not even a little bit. I hate the big dogs for the most part. Occasionally I need them, but the logs we get and the trees we do, we don't have bark like the guys on the West Coast have. So that's a different deal. When you got bark that's, 6 inches thick and you got a dog in, that's a different deal. We got shagbark hickories. Maybe some of the white pines have bigger bark at the bottom, but it's nothing like what the guys on the West Coast have. So to me, I don't want massive dogs, but I also don't love the baby dogs. I'd like, if those are little half-inch points, maybe I'd like 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch, just a little bit more. So I got to find out if I can find a dog solution for these that I like a little bit better. That's about it. Still my favorite saw out of most saws. I like it as much as anything, even comparing it to like the newer MS400s. I like it. MS400's a Cadillac. It's a wonderful new saw, but I'm not paying $1,000 more for one. I have one. I like it, but to be honest with you, I don't ever use it because I always use these. And if I'm going to leave something outside, I'm going to leave this outside. I'm not going to leave that outside. Anyhow, guys, I probably talked too much. I got to get some thoughts together how I'm going to do that carb video for you guys. We talked about the muffler flux thing. We talked about the uni filter. Talked that I got these carbs dialed in, and they're for sale on bluesaws.com too. I put together the carb with the intake boot that I want you guys to use, just because it's a nicer intake boot and it's got more meat where the carb mushes into the seals against the intake boot. So it's got more material there so you don't wind up getting air leaks around it. I'm not saying everybody does, but now I know you won't. So we paired those together. Only thing I'll tell you about those intake boots is if you look inside of them when you get them, take a needle nose plier and there's some, not swarf, what would you call it? So when they mold the rubber, there's a little bit, you know, where they press it together, I guess. There's flashing. I don't know what you call it, but anyhow, go in there and you'll see you rip some of that out because it does block the passageway a little bit. So you could open that up a little bit just by, you know, pulling the little extra skin of rubber out of there. I think that's all I have for today. I'm dragging ass. We had a wedding this weekend and my ass is still a little bit kicked, even though I didn't get overly drunk or anything. I'm still tired from traveling and hotels and all that kind of stuff. That's it. I'll think about the next video. I had some other videos I wanted to do the other day and I didn't do them, and I wish I did because there was some cool stuff to talk about. Trying to get better with it, guys. I appreciate your encouragement and I appreciate the feedback. Anyhow, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws, and bluesaws.com. Thanks for watching and stay safe.